When it comes to Flash games, nothing more popular comes to mind than Papa Louie and his series of Gamerias. Even when the Flash support had ended and was removed from most browsers, Papa's legacies continues to hold up today with Flipline Studios still making games for the series on mobile devices. Although with most popular online games, there are bootleg unblocked websites that would host them, most likely without permission from their creators. The only reason they became popular was because, as the name suggested, they were not blocked by schools, which meant its students could play the games hosted to help them pass the time or distract themselves in lessons. Related to the topic, I had an odd experience with one of them involving a very strange bootleg version of Papa's Pizzeria. Although it had been years ago at this point, 2015 to be exact. I remember notable parts of it that stuck me ever since I played it, and decided to share them here, in case I inevitably forget. If I recall correctly, the version on the website was called On the Rack Games, which advertised itself as a website that hosted the best Flash games you'll ever play, and its claim was quite bizarre, as almost half of them were just poorly made ones from Newgrounds. I had stumbled across the site during lunch break at high school when I was looking for something to do. Since I had finished all of my homework and didn't really have many friends to hang out with at the time, after some looking through the generic and lame titles that I didn't really care about, I'd finally spotted a well-made game to play, which was Papa's Pizzeria, of course. A recreation of what Roy looked like in-game. Upon starting up the game, I noticed that the intro was that of the version that was not the same, as it was very roughly animated and had two things off about it. For starters, Roy was wearing different clothing consisting of a pale blue shirt, light gray trousers, and hat, and near dark shoes compared to his red and blue clothing he usually wears. Secondly, instead of driving a delivery car, Roy was on a school bus and had stopped at the back of the entrance of Papa's Pizzeria. Before he got out, the rest of the cutscene played out as what you would expect, with Roy calling out for Papa Louie to only find out that he's away and needed to run the pizzeria. The rest of the game, for the most part, was basically the same, taking customers' orders, making and cooking the pizza, and cutting it before serving it to them as they give you tips based on how well you have done. Although the intro has bugged me out, I initially didn't really mind it that much, as they were obviously not the focus of the series. After spending about 10 minutes of playing, I was starting to get bored and wanted to try out making a new profile under the name Almost Papa, which allowed Papa Louie to be unlocked as a customer very quickly by starting on day 99, with most of the customers earning gold customer rewards, since I had never reached that part of the game and wanted to find out what his order was like. Upon playing with the new profile for a while, I unlocked Papa Louie, much to my excitement, and I prepared myself to take his order, which ended up being complicated just like in the real version of the game. When I had finally finished with his pizza, Papa Louie was very pissed off about it, as well as all the scores from each station had a staggering 0%. To much my disappointment, I refreshed the game to try again, as I thought I'd overcooked the pizza without realizing it. Nope, Papa was still annoyed and I still got a 0% on everything. Despite my best efforts to please him, I refreshed the game multiple times, hoping to get at least a better score. Nothing changed. Papa could not be pleased by any way. Thinking it was just a bug with the version on the rack, I decided to just continue playing and let off some steam. However, when I had finished the day in game, I did not expect the following to happen. A recreation of one of the shots in the cutscene made in Papa Louie's Pals. After the last customer was served, instead of going to today's results section, the game began to play a cutscene which had the same quality as the one in the intro. Roy was preparing to leave the pizzeria when he heard a loud bang coming from the entrance. He was shocked by this and demanded to know who it was. He grabbed a pizza paddle to defend himself, only to become cold by what he saw. It was Papa Louie and he looked furious. Roy apologized to Papa and tried to explain himself, only for the chef to rant about how he had done a bad job at looking after his restaurant and how he is a failure in the industry. As the chef continued to yell, Roy visibly became more stressed as his expressions kept changing with each scene between him and Papa. This continued on for nearly a minute until it happened. Roy, out of pure stress and frustration, slapped Papa real hard with a pizza paddle he had in hand. Upon being hit, Papa landed onto the cold floor unconscious. Roy took some deep breaths before becoming horrified by what he had saw and what he had done. As he stared at the unmoving chef, Roy began to fear for the possibility of being thrown in jail for what he did, and he had to think of a plan fast. Then, for some reason, it began to play a recording of somebody spilling gasoline over the floor with some sobbing that came from the person doing it. My best guess is that it would be supposed to be connected with the cutscene prior. But if so, why not make that animated so it wouldn't feel out of place? Once that recording was over, it faded into a poorly made "thanks for playing" screen, consisting of Roy standing behind a burning building, most likely the same one that was seen in video. That was the only screenshot I took of that bootleg version, as I thought it was hilariously badass without the context of the ending. If I took a screenshot of it, then why don't I have the SWF file to use on the website? Lunchtime was nearly over when I took it, and I planned on downloading the file after I finished school. However, when I got home, my heart dropped as I found that trying to go to On The Rack's website would just lead me to a 404 error. I tried going onto the website for a few days after that, thinking On The Rack was doing some maintenance on their server, but to no avail. To this day, I have very little clue on who made that bootleg version of Papa's Pizzeria, why these changes were made, or what was the point of the ending cutscene. If you have any information regarding me in this, do let me know. And that was Papa's Pizzeria On The Rack Games version. A Papa's Pizzeria creepypasta. Wow, that's pretty interesting that we even have this game that had a creepypasta. My final thoughts on this story? I thought it was really funny as hell, not gonna lie. Like, let's say it was like pure fucking crap, like if it was an actual horrendous story that's like full of horrendous cliches that would actually melt your brain, because I thought it was pretty interesting stuff to get into. For example, a game website that doesn't even exist in this world, like having like pirated things into it, like, for example, video games that have already existed into an existing site without any permission or something. I don't know. That actually does happen a lot on the internet, and for some reason it can go really fucking disturbing for young children. What else? Which, for example, there's even videos on YouTube that have been moved, and I mean moved into literal porn sites. I'm not even fucking joking. That actually happens. Another thing is, there even was shit like this that actually happened in the past when it comes to, like, I don't know. What do you say? When it comes to, like, fucking, like, disturbing young children and all that youth's age. I don't know. I'll give you an example of one time. I believe some kid's app that had some Blaze in the Monster Machine's background, which had the name Blaze in the Monsters Machine. Yes, I'm not even kidding. That was banned because some mother or somebody witnessed an audio recording or something that had to do with, I believe, a character or something named Happy Slappy. Really weird fucking name, by the way. That would threaten to murder young children by saying he would stab and kill them. Not even kidding. He actually did that at one point. That happened in real life. Another incident occurred back in 2008 where some Elmo toy, for I don't know reason, somewhere would threaten to murder a young boy by calling his name. I don't know how in the fuck that's even possible. Like, Jesus Christ. Sounds like a Child's Play rip-off movie called Child Sesame with a man reincarnated into a killer Elmo and kill a bunch of children by saying this odd catchphrase. And then there's the infamous Housegate. I will not go into detail because fuck that. This story is kind of like resembles those occurrences that actually happened many years ago and is unfortunately still happening to this very day. In fact, Google shit, like maybe Google shit or like search shit for YouTube like Bluey Skibbity Toilet Rizzing Garden Ban fucking nigga caught avocado, and then add the word funny videos or some shit, and you get something like what actually happened in this version of Papa's Pizzeria. Well, at least this version of Papa's Pizzeria. That doesn't include sexual and gory subjects, but it could still disturb young children, especially with the audio of literal torture. The reason for this is because of fucking greed, which is unfortunate. It's weird that this website perfectly matches those incidences, and thus the reason why I actually enjoyed this story a little bit. Now, is there any problems with the creepypasta? Even though I might find it very funny and actually could happen to a kid's eyes if they even discovered that something like this, I wouldn't say this story was actually scary. I mean, the game could scare young children, but I wouldn't say it would either scare an adult. Either adults would find it either edgy, gross, or just pure brain rot like Skibbity Toilet and what people would find brain rot right now and today. I mean, greed was the reason for this, I'm assuming, so there you go. What else? The grammar is pretty decent, I'll admit. But anyway, this story was funny, but things like this has happened before, and it's definitely not pretty, I'll admit. I'll admit the funniest part was the fire scene. My final ratings of the story is a 9 out of 10. Funny and very well written if you think about it. If you agree or disagree with my opinion, that is fine. Anyway, I'm out.